what's up, man?
Hey,
How's it going?
yeah, it's all right. I feel a bit sweaty. I did a post office run just now. I've just come back, but I do have wine with me. I do have a glass of wine, which I haven't done in a while on a recording, to be honest. My
Watch
sister
out,
seems,
guys.
yeah, my sister seems to think that we just record in our like pajamas early in the morning for some reason. I was like, that was one time.
That was
But
one time. One time.
what about you?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I've got a cup of tea because my home is freezing, which is lovely.
I
But
hate
yeah,
that.
and I've mentioned it to you, but just for listeners, I'm putting myself through the misery of dry January.
Oh, yeah. It's
And
not
like,
worth it. It's not.
no, I know. And to be honest, I'm not that like strict on it. Last year I did veganuary and dry January, and I really enjoyed sort of the challenge of it. And I kind of liked the stubbornness of I will achieve this. But I've gone into it this year thinking, you know what? If I have a mental breakdown and I
It's what
need
it
some
is.
alcohol, I will have some alcohol and have
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
I'm not holding myself to it. It's just more a bit of a easy health kick after an indulgent Christmas time.
Yeah, I get that. I think I don't, well, first off, I don't really like to challenge myself food wise. Like, I don't really deprive myself when it comes to food. But partly because we eat vegan in this house anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm not stripping all the things that I like out of my life. And also, I think because I don't eat meat anymore, Christmas, I don't get as, like uncomfortably full. So I never really feel like I come out of Christmas with that bloat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean. Like, yeah, it's a lot, but I'm definitely not doing a dry January, I tell you that.
I mean, the fact that I've survived this week in the news, dry is beyond me. So
Yeah.
But yeah. So what is your fashion story this week?
So my fashion story. This might not apply to the UK, but Vogue has this article where it's talking about the cropped UGG. And there's like pictures of celebrities with the cropped UGG like out and about wearing UGG
it's
boots.
back.
And I'm thinking, is it back? Exactly.
So that it was whilst we were at school. Like it was a real phase.
It's had a 10-year revival almost, you know, it's like.
But I guess that's fashion. Like there are these revivals, and maybe it's part of this loungewear life we're living in. Like we're wearing trackies, so why aren't we wearing UGG boots? Personally, I'm someone that I do have a pair of UGG boots. There is slippers. They are not for me to wear outdoors. No judgment if you wear them outdoors, but I kind of feel like the UGG look was not our friend.
I think what was wrong with the UGG look is UGG boots, proper UGG boots, and especially the imitation Primark ones used to have the worst sole.
Oh, you know, it was the way those girls used to walk with their like ankles. Like,
yeah, it was like
rolling over,
like someone with knocked knees, like walking on the inside of their sole, and how it used to be at like a straight, like 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
By the time these Uggs had worn through.
For sure.
I think that was the problem though. And they used to get really wet. People used to wear them when it was like raining and stuff.
No.
So they used to look really gross. But I know Uggs, they came out with, they kind of have those ones where they have a thicker, like, rubberized sole.
They've got like proper outdoor shoes. Because I think like it was a slipper brand. It's an Australian slipper brand that I'm aware of. And then like people wear them outdoors. But I'm pretty sure like I remember when it kicked off here, Australians never really wore them outside and found that like a bit of a bizarre thing that we suddenly like like this is an indoor outdoor shoe. You're
doing it wrong, guys. But Australia is a lot warmer, so I can completely understand why you wouldn't need that. But in England it's like shearling makes sense.
Warm, yeah.
But there might be a revival. I'm not mad at Ugg boots though. I do like them, but I think they have to be like the better quality ones.
Well, they need to be good quality. Yeah. Interesting. We'll have to see.
What's your fashion story?
Well, I know you mentioned Gucci last week, but they're getting another mention. I don't know if you've seen the... I don't want Harry Styles fans getting angry.
Our demographic in that...
treat people with kindness video with him and Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I haven't seen this.
Watch it for the fact that there's some dancing, and for these Gucci outfits. I will... viewers
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is she's the Fleabag?
So they wear these outfits that are head to toe Gucci. It's like an embellished sequin blazer that Harry is wearing, and then like a little like argyle sweater vest.
You know what, I do like the look, don't get me wrong, I like it, but those are definitely not the two people I want to see dancing.
It's old school, like the era of that look it's not
like Northern Soul, like
it's almost like I imagine if you were in the sort of 50s 60s, not quite into like showgirl 60s, where like someone's performing at a bar or in like a sort of lounge, and it's just a few shimmies. It's really tasteful. He's not like getting crunk, or he's not like twerking or anything. it's like older, sort of stylistic, and
But Phoebe Waller-Bridge, isn't her brand about being this awkward kind of
I don't know why she was sort of cast in it, but I also kind of think if Harry Styles cast you for a music video, do you say no?
Oh, hold on. It's a music video. It's his music video.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was a Gucci promo.
No. But like, you know what he's like. He wears head to toe Gucci. So these like, he's kind of is like a walking advert right now for Gucci.
Yeah.
Like Gucci not only have like Billie Eilish, who basically exclusively seems to wear Gucci on like the red carpet and stuff, but then they've also got like a Harry Styles who's doing his thing, and then an Elton John. But yeah, so he wears Gucci in this music video with Phoebe, and it's like this thing. You have to check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I just feel like it's gonna be mad awkward.
It's not terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. He's not like, well, more Phoebe. He's kind of got a bit more rhythm than her. She's not going to be winning Strictly Come Dancing anytime soon. But and there's also, you know, when dancers do like a cartwheel whilst the other one's sort of holding them. Do you know what I mean? Like they cartwheel and there's this sort of a thing. She does that, and I must admit they probably shouldn't have put that in their video. Like it's a really enjoyable video. It's quite cool, like the concept. I really enjoyed it. But I don't think she was good enough at doing her cartwheel. But yeah,
cool. But I did like the looks though.
They're really cool, and you know what? It's like it's a very now look. Everyone's loving layering like a sweater vest with stuff. It's everywhere. Don't think it's personally something I can pull off.
He said it's about everything.
So. I know. I mean, I don't know when the episode will come out, but I was saying to one of our guests that we recorded with this week, I back myself into a corner, and I need to stop doing that.
Yeah. I mean, this is the time to just buy stuff, try it on, try out some looks in the comfort and the privacy of your own home, and then, you know, emerge.
I've definitely been like more like to be honest, when I was at school, if I look back at like stuff I used to wear, I'd be like, what was I thinking? But I also think that's a good thing. I think people should evolve. But I've definitely been a bit more experimental, because the people I cling to on Instagram are people who layer loads of print, who layer loads of colours, and that's not really how I naturally dress, but it's something that like I really enjoy when people do that. So I'm trying to like channel these legends.
I get you. We'll definitely post a picture, some stills of
Yeah.
the video on the Instagram. Yeah.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you, go follow us on Instagram, Style Over Substance Pod. Shoot us an email, styleoversubstanceP@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube, find us on Twitter. We've got all the links on our Instagram. You know what to do.
Cool. So this week, do you want to introduce our topic? Oh, having trouble there.
Yeah, so this week we are basically discussing YouTube and social media, but like mainly sort of the YouTube and the impact it has on us buying things or succumbing to the adverts and the pressures of I guess sponsored videos, or seeing the people that you grew up with watching who are suddenly being paid for lots of things, and how that works with, I guess, a normal person watching a video and wanting that stuff, and kind of, I don't know if that impacts us, and how we think that actually impacts fashion and fast fashion, or even if they don't stand for fast fashion and it's more luxurious, how that's impacted the way we see people and the fashion world right now.
Yeah, I think definitely over the past, let's say, decade, with the growth of YouTube and the number of YouTubers, especially in the fashion space, we've seen haul culture, haul videos, and not just hauls, but unboxings. And I think there's a kind of like a difference between them, a subtle difference between them, and like how those have influenced our personal buying habits, but also like buying habits that we've seen from other people. So yeah, it's really at a time where kind of my overall opinion is that we are moving away from hauls. I think it's an interesting discussion to have about how prevalent they've been over the past 5-10 years.
Yeah, I saw a meme though the other day that was basically saying, I've just realized why YouTubers do haul videos, and it's so they can tax deduct the clothes that they've bought for that video, because theoretically
yes.
And like, I don't know if that's what they do, but like they also kind of could if it is to do with their work.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
It is an expense. But the thing, okay, so that brilliantly kind of like leads me to one of my first thoughts, is that at the beginning, when we didn't really know what YouTube would evolve into.
10 years, like we're both quite heavy YouTube watchers. And like 10 years ago, it wasn't a career.
No.
So when the way that hauls started wasn't for tax reasons. It was simply a girl or a guy going to the shops and saying, this is what I've chosen to spend my money on.
And I think also back then, for a lot of different like genres of YouTube, but haul videos was about, guys, I've bought all this stuff from, example, ASOS, which is not as big as it is now. It wasn't as big then. And it's like, guys, this is what you can expect if you shop from this retailer, and this is what you can expect in terms of quality, delivery, selection. So you could watch these hauls and be like, oh, I've never bought from Never Fully Dressed. It wasn't really around back then, but like example of like an Instagram brand, for example, or like Fashion Nova. Remember like when Fashion Nova came, you could actually buy stuff from Fashion Nova from England. So people would watch these hauls to be like, okay, how much tax am I going to have to pay? Delivery tax. What's the website like? What's the sizing like? What's the fit like? What's the quality like? And it was purely about the review of the experience. What I was going to say is that back then, when people were doing hauls to give you that kind of insider knowledge of what it's like to shop with them, people then latched on to the fact like, oh, these are really popular videos, so I'll do those as well. And there's so many people who used to spend thousands, so much money, and get into debt chasing that supposed image of what a fashion YouTuber was. So they would spend thousands of pounds on Topshop, don't know why you do that, so that they could have a good amount of clothes to review and do a haul video on.
Yeah. And actually, like, it's such a sad thing, because really the origin of it was, it was just meant to be someone spending like their paycheck from their regular job, and I'm actually really disappointed in this material from ASOS. So like, because especially like you said with a brand like ASOS, it's all online, and I'm sure we've all had it where you order something and you've got really high hopes, and it comes and either the material is trash or like the fit is not meant for a human's body, or someone who's not a model.
Like those memes, it's like what you ordered versus what you got off like Wish.
And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not shading ASOS, that doesn't really happen with their fit, but it's more fabric for ASOS. Like some of their like own line is super cheap fabric, but that's also what you get if you're paying like under £10 for something. But like that was the origin. It was never meant to be some like popularity or like showing off culture that it then 100% developed into. Yeah. And especially like someone who's been watching YouTube for such a long time, it frustratingly also developed into obviously collaborations with brands.
Yeah.
And so then it transformed into this thing of, hang on, they haven't spent their money on this. They've been gifted all of this. And so then they're sort of showing you all these hauls quite frequently. And that's, I guess, as well, where people who were aspiring to be YouTubers as like the YouTube career thing became a thing, would have got themselves into debt to compete with these gifted sort of branded videos. And this was also kind of before you had to be really transparent with branding. And so a regular person like you or me would just be like, sorry, how have they just bought all of this? And it would be a much more positive review because they've been gifted. And it's kind of created this momentum of like a form of comparison, especially if you watch somebody before they became a star or an influencer.
Yeah. And I think also it sounds really minor, but for a lot of people watching these haul videos, you watch it and the title of the video might be like, spent £1,000 on ASOS. I know we're giving ASOS all the flack, but those were the biggest videos at the time. They were the most common ones.
Yeah, like this is what you can get for £1,000 on ASOS.
Yeah.
Like,
So you'd see that big amount of money, be like, whoa, and then you'd forget, like, whoa. And then you forget that all the stuff that they didn't like or didn't fit them in the video, they would return.
Yeah, like so, I bet half of that has gone straight back.
Most of that stuff would go back, and it's either two ways. Like you would either think, wow, this person has so much money that they can afford this. Why can't I afford it? Or it would be like people genuinely running themselves into debt to keep up with the Joneses, the YouTube Joneses. And so, yeah, it was like massive. I don't know, like if some of our listeners are too, like, I don't mean to be condescending, but like too young to remember the beginnings of haul videos and stuff. I saw on Wikipedia that by 2010, there were like 250,000 haul videos uploaded to YouTube because they were so popular.
And I remember as well, like back in the early sort of stages, some of the people that I followed were a lot of like the pioneers, or would now be considered some of the pioneers of doing the first like brand collaborations and kind of being at the forefront of figuring out how you suddenly become this person making money. And it's only, I guess, maybe in the last 2 or 3 years, but that people actually respect and appreciate that is now someone's profession, but it's actually been people's profession for probably the best part of like 8 years.
Yeah, we just didn't know how much money they were making off of it.
Yeah, and so for like the wishy-washy sort of 5 years, it was just not super obvious that people were making money off of it, and it was kind of seen as this really like condescending, oh, you just like post videos of things you bought. Like if these people would go on like a talk show in America and people didn't really understand that these people had millions of followers, it would be this condescending sort of, these girls just love shopping or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was, they didn't realize, I think, that it was actually like this real phenomenon taking over the internet. And I must say, I love a haul video. I used to love watching sort of what someone would buy from Boots, or if they were trying out something that you were considering buying, and they might tell you about it. And I can say personally, I wouldn't say haul videos have ever really swayed me to buy things. Like for myself, like clothing and stuff like that is a bit more personal and all of that stuff. And I think the only time that YouTube used to convince me to buy stuff would be a makeup tutorial if I wanted to recreate the look.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to have for you actually, because do you think it does influence your buying, influence you in shopping? Because I think for me personally, I don't watch a video and think I must have it, I must buy this stuff. I like, you know me, I watch loads of beauty videos, makeup and beauty tutorials, and I never buy any of the stuff. It doesn't interest me. And like a few episodes back, I think I mentioned that I really got into watching Emma's bag collection videos, but I'm not going to buy an Emma's bag anytime soon. But I do think what haul video culture and trends have done is exposed us to the idea of owning that much stuff is okay, and buying that much stuff at once is okay, and also like buying multiple items in multiple sizes is okay for then you to just send it all back. It might not be like you're going out now to buy the same top as her because it looked great on her, but I think there's like the subconscious like attitude to spending and consumption that we've definitely adopted.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we'd be really naive to think it hasn't impacted our psyche or our shopping behaviors in some way. Definitely in the ways that you said, like it would be kind of like ridiculous to go into a shop and buy one thing. Like, you know what I mean? These people come back with a bag with like 5 to 10 things in minimum. And like, and don't get me wrong, they're not like shopping it like Reese and stuff like that when they're doing it. It definitely did start off with very high street prices. It would be like Primark, it would be ASOS. It wouldn't even necessarily be like Topshop and Zara, and that is out there now, but that's much more with the gifted thing and doing some work with that shop, or like they're doing it in the hope of getting work with that shop. But like it definitely has like created this thing. Like I don't think I would ever buy one thing off of a shop now.
Really?
I just think I'd probably wait for a few things more for like, I mean, ASOS, like there's the delivery thing anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe I would there, but like, I don't know. I'm much more of it's probably created that habit of I'll buy numerous things at once. And it's that's definitely probably from something like that, because like you said, it's given us permission to own an obscene amount of clothes. And like,
definitely.
My clothes definitely don't fit in my room. My room's relatively small, but like my clothes definitely don't properly fit in my room. Yeah. I have some still like back at my
parents' house. Yeah.
I have like some in the drawers under my bed, like for different seasonal things I have to switch out because it doesn't all fit and stuff. And like that's definitely a problem. And I think one of the worst things it's also created is the frequency in which we think we have to shop. like, I think it's created this culture of, I want that, so I'm gonna buy it, rather than I need a new jumper. Mine like are all a bit like raggy right now, so I need a new jumper. It more has created, I like the look of that, I have absolutely no need for it, I've got loads of jumpers, but I'm still gonna buy that because I like it.
And
I think that's like one of the worst things it's probably done for me, is it creates that sort of want for newness that I don't think, I mean, there's a whole reason behind newness as well. It's like, it's to make ourselves feel better. There's all of that stuff.
Blah blah blah. Well, that's
like all like short-term happiness for like 5 minutes.
Like what you've said has kind of brought two other big ideas into my mind. One of them is that you were saying haul videos started with very affordable high street stuff. On the flip side of that, you have, when it comes to luxury, it's like, look at my luxury collection. It's not called a haul, but it's definitely, look at how many Chanel bags I have, you know. And then
when you add it up, I don't know if you've ever been in the comment section of a video like that, where someone like adds up someone's collection.
I watched one
That's
last night.
That's disgusting.
I watched one last night, and actually it was a really cool video, but she did put on the screen how much she paid for each of them. She bought her stuff like pre-loved, but still in my mind I was like, change, you know. And then also you have unboxing videos, which, although it doesn't say haul in the title, it's still a display of wealth. And these unboxing videos are rarely, look at this one Dior bag that I bought.
I've saved up for 6 months. I've been setting aside money.
Look at all these orange Hermes boxes that have turned up, and all these Chanel. And it's like, there's always like a couple items in the video to like flesh out the video a bit. But it's like, easily the price is, it's a haul without saying it's a haul, you know, but it is. And then my second kind of thought from what you were saying is that before on YouTube, it was about reviewing a product. Now it's 100% about pushing a product
and showing off. Showing off how well you're doing.
Exactly. It's like, is it worth buying this item, as opposed to, this thing helped me create the look that I have achieved today. Does that make sense? There's like a really subtle difference to it. Like before, makeup was, I'm using just the idea of makeup because it makes sense. But it's like, this blue eyeshadow that happens to be from, I don't know, any brand, is the one that I happen to use to paint butterflies on my face, you know, like this crazy look or something. But now it's like, oh, so-and-so has come up with a new blue eyeshadow. Is it worth buying? It's like, no, it's not really. What do you think about unboxing videos?
I've never really, like, I get the idea of like, for the people that it's not attainable for, you're getting to see what you get if you bought a Chanel or a Dior. But past that, I kind of also don't understand. There's something really arrogant about, like, there's something arrogant about all of this. And don't get me wrong, I love all these videos. I'm not bashing them. But there's something really arrogant about unwrapping something on camera that's like a bit weird for me, of like, oh, like I'm going to keep this. This is really nice packaging. And like, oh, look at this dust bag, and like, blah, 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 blah. But it's a very clever sort of way of basically like, I don't know, really subtly, like, not kind of putting the word haul or
it's flex culture.
And to be honest, an unboxing, you don't get a Zara. I mean, some people try a Zara.
Some people,
Some people really try. But like, realistically, the whole point of an unboxing is to like, you've ordered something either off like a Net-a-Porter, or you've ordered something off Chanel, or like you've bought it in store and you're showing how they wrap it, how they present it, how that's what you're meant to be sort of selling.
It's like wrappage porn. It's like, oh, look at that.
And then they get to the bloody product. But I think I definitely prefer collection videos over unboxings, because I know that comes nicely wrapped. Like, I know I've worked, like, I've been part of that sort of process a little bit, but I prefer collection videos. But I think, like, the crazy thing is, anyone that I've watched, if they've never got one designer handbag, like, they always have, like, and it's because I think I genuinely don't think, and we mentioned this the other day when we were, like, discussing this video, we have literally zero concept of how well these people do.
Yeah.
And they do really well. Like a few people that I've followed over the years, a girl called Fleur de Force, she's definitely from, like, quite a wealthy origin as it is. I think her parents have great jobs. Her husband, I think, is in a family business that does really well. And so she sort of always has sort of had that sort of financial maybe backing. But she's just definitely got, like, a handful of Chanel bags. She's got, like, a few Mulberry. She's like, and she mostly buys pre-loved and blah, 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 blah. But she's got a significant number of bags. We were discussing the other day, like, in the Fro, she has got, like, the most insane collection of all things designer. And, like, don't get me wrong, she works really hard. She's always producing content. So she's probably earning a huge amount of money. But I think we actually have zero concept of how well they do to realize there's actually no way we can compare ourselves. Like, our salaries are not even in, like, the same ballpark.
You're not on my level, boo.
Yeah. And I think it's that thing of, like, especially if you, like, quite a lot of them, like, I probably watched them when they maybe were more on my level, and so it's
now they've outpaced you
almost. And it's that hard, like, realization of, like, we're actually, like, you're not relatable to me whatsoever anymore. But then there's something about watching something that you hope could be your situation one day, and we're all suckers for some aspirational, one day I'm gonna own, like, that Hermes or that Chanel, like, or something like that. If you're interested in fashion, you're probably interested in having a nice designer item one day. That's just kind of, like, the thing. Whether it's shoes, whether it's, like, an item of clothing, whether it's a bag, I think everyone sort of wouldn't say no to that if they had the finances.
Yeah, definitely. I think the not knowing what these people are making is so important. And I don't think
they should be, I don't know if they should publish that. I don't know if that's any of our business.
It's not our business, though. I think, like, if we're going to make
theoretically, you or I could start a channel tomorrow, and you could be on, like, an outrageous salary because that's your job as it is, and that is nobody's business how you spend your money or how like, all of that stuff's, like, I don't care. And also a lot of it's gifted or it's brand work, or, like, they get lent stuff.
They don't keep it.
Lent press samples, and it's like, I think it's helpful that we know a bit of the behind the scenes so that it can't damage us a bit, like, too much.
Yeah, I think
definitely points where I'm like, shit, these people have got some really nice stuff.
I think you're right in that. I don't think that they owe us anything in terms of how they spend their money or how much money they're making, because at the end of the day, they're making money because we're watching them.
They're
entertained.
Like, we're part
they're
of, like,
entertainers. And the best thing that we can do is, like, educate ourselves on and have the knowledge to know that some of it is lent to them and they send it back. Some of them they buy outright. Some of them is gifted. Some of them are gifts from other people in their life, not just gifted by brands. Some they just receive as birthday gifts or whatever.
And I must say that in the Fro is really good at being really transparent about everything, where it comes from, if it's been lent, if it's a gift, if she's been paid to, like, mention it. She's very transparent and very appreciative, and lots of people are. But yeah, I think it really helps when someone's just really clear on, I'm working with this brand, they've lent me this, or I'm doing a collaboration with them and they've sent me this as a thank you, or like
I think
helpful.
A recent, it wasn't a haul, it was a collection video that I was watching last night, and I'll be sure to, like, tag her in some of the posts that we'll do this week. But I like watching her. She's in America, and I think she's got good style, and she's just entertaining to watch, like, casually. And she did a collection of her handbag. A lot of them were Chanel, and on the bottom of the screen she did put where she got them from, like Fashion File and Farfetch and all that stuff, and she put the price of how much she paid for them, and she was like, was a really good deal, and blah 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 blah. And I'm not judging her for buying that stuff, but in my mind I was definitely thinking, okay, so that was 1,000, that was 2,000, that was 3,000, that was 1,000. And I was like tallying everything up, and I was like, these are handbags that, yeah, she's bought over the years, over the recent, a lot of them were like done in recent history, you know what I mean? And then,
yeah, we're not talking about over 40 years here.
yeah, exactly. And I know from just following her on Instagram that they've recently moved into this like new build, big old house, and she obviously has bills, and her husband obviously has bills. So this is not like
additional expenditure.
Yeah, this is just frivolous spending. And it was like, this doesn't compute in my mind. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and if I met her on the street, I would be like, oh, she clearly like dresses well, has got like, you know, I'd probably be like, that's a Bottega Veneta bag, you know. She does well for herself, but I wouldn't clock on that she is wealthy. Does that make sense? So as viewers, it's easy for us to make assumptions about how these people live, and it's like, we actually have no idea.
Yeah, like, we don't know what their husbands do. We don't know what their situation is. And like, just to reiterate it, I don't think we should. But like you said, it's about an awareness of, this is their job. Like, this is actually their job.
Yeah.
And they're actually paid to have that amount of clothes. They're paid to own that amount of makeup. If beauty is their thing, that's not the amount you're meant to have. They're literally paid, and they get sent stuff. So like, you don't need 10 moisturizers. You only need that one if you just want one, and you don't have to have one if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be from Space NK if you don't want it to be. Like, do it within your budget. One of my favorite people that I used to watch, who are definitely the reason my makeup collection is far too large for someone who is not a makeup artist, but I do love makeup, are the Pixie Woo sisters, Nick and Sam Chapman, who have just retired from social media as well.
Have they?
Yeah.
They are like staples in the...
Oh, they like are the pioneers of the
industry.
And like, literally this year they did, or last year, they did a MAC lipstick.
Everyone has a Real Techniques brush in their life.
Like, every music video that features makeup, like everything, I always see a Real Techniques brush. They're fab. But like, they always used to reiterate, and especially in these later years, this is the product I'm using. But if you have a brown eyeshadow, use your brown eyeshadow. Like, by no means do you have to buy this one. I get given so many products, but it's also my job to have this many. Like, please, like, you can recreate this with things that you own. And I used to love that fact of them like really reiterating that, like, I have a kit because I'm a makeup artist, and I think it's so much easier to understand that with makeup, because they do have a kit. You need something for all skin types. If you're doing someone else's makeup, you need face paints, you need glitters, you need lashes, you need all of these like different offerings. And I think that we forget that if someone's job is theoretically like that they style themselves and they're promoting fashion, that they've got like a kit for that too, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, that's such a good analogy. Yeah, 100%.
Like,
that makes sense.
We're not actually meant to have as many outfit choices as they do. Like, we're not. Like, that's kind of, and it's so much hard. I think it's so much harder to compete with clothing.
It is.
Because I think makeup's a bit less attainable. You either like it and you like playing with makeup, or you don't. But we all have to get dressed. We all wear clothes. We all succumb to that consumerism with clothes.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think I've seen haul videos come and go, be replaced by here's my collection of X, Y, and Z, and unboxing videos. Do you think that's the same thing that you've seen. And do you think people are tired of seeing excess consumerism? Because that's what it is.
So I've definitely stuck with a lot of the same people that I've watched for 10 years, if they're still doing it. And actually their evolution for sure has been much less of a haul video. And it's products I'm loving right now, or it's, this is my shoe collection, this is my bag collection. And then also like, they'll explain that they've got rid of some bags to make way for new ones and stuff like that, especially if they've got a lot of designer things. A lot of the people I watch have become very aware of how like gluttonous their job is and how many products they get given and how kind of frivolous it all is. But unfortunately that's their job. So they have to be somewhat frivolous with all of that stuff. And they kind of by no means would have that amount of stuff if their job wasn't to take pictures and promote these companies. And you also have to remember, they never just work with one brand. So that's a reason they have like multiple, like different designer goods or whatever, like whoever they're working with and that kind of a thing.
Especially the ones who work with Farfetch and Net-a-Porter.
Yeah.
Then they can like shop the whole website.
Exactly. And they can't just like, they've got to kind of be seen giving the like they have to kind of be fair and be showing different brands attention and all of that stuff, I'm sure. So I've definitely noticed the people that like have moved out of hauls and into more collection videos and stuff like that. And I much more prefer that. But they also are like 10 years on and they've done all that stuff. And I think they've tried to evolve into they've probably evolved their career into more than just YouTube at this point. So they are business women, and they are entrepreneurs, and so they've got other stuff going on. So there's less of that need to be like the trending video of that week, and maybe their followers aren't as high as they used to be, but like they are now, they're like die hard, we're gonna like, we love watching you, and like that's their
audience.
Whereas newer YouTubers who are like still trying to get like those shocking, like, oh my god, he left me, like sort of
clickbait, basically.
Clickbait, 100%. Like there's this one girl, I won't name her because I don't want it to seem rude, like all of December she just did a haul for a different high street shop. It was Zara, it was other stories, it was ASOS, it was Topshop, it was like, I don't even like, can't think of stuff, but it was, and it would be huge amounts of stuff that she's spending. And I'm assuming she sent loads of it back. And I don't think many of them were sponsored. She was just buying loads of clothes and doing loads of hauls. And I was like, seriously? Another one? But I think
in the era of Corona, and job loss and debt and everything else that the world has thrown at us, what's your opinion on lavish displays of luxury?
I think it's a really tricky one because there's anyone who's sort of in a limelight and people who look up to them, they have got somewhat of a responsibility to be the role model, that whether they chose to be that role model or not, they have a duty to be that. But equally, they're human and this is their job. Like, it's not like a footballer's doing something stupid in a bar. Like, this is their job. They have to create content. And unfortunately, some content is more enticing than others. I think the younger people should be way more aware of it than they are. But I think they're also just the generation who couldn't give a Scooby. Like, I've seen videos where like things on TikTok where people are making fun of like Gen Z like YouTubers and influencers where they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about COVID, it's boring and stuff like that. And like, yeah, of course it's like boring in the sense of it's kind of, we're oversaturated with talking about it, but you can't be seen to be like sounding that ignorant about it. And I think it's stuff like that where unfortunately you're held to a different standard, where if I said COVID's boring to you, it doesn't mean anything. Like, you've just probably heard I'm over talking about that, like we don't want to hear it, let's be positive. But the reality is everything gets misconstrued these days. And I think there's a really fine balance of, if you're going to be really overindulgent with your like hauls, just be super transparent. Like, guys, like, this was like gifted to me. This is by no means like me telling you, especially in, like you said, these financial hardships. Like, young people are so impressionable. That is why we see so many young kids with like designer goods these days. Don't get me wrong, I look at these videos too and I'm like, but I want one. But I'm also like kind of mature enough to know, like, well, if you wanted to buy one, you could, but that's just not a priority for you right now. Like, I could save up for months and probably get something like that, but do I want to?
Yeah,
probably not.
I kind of take a different view, in that, for me, these people who are influencers or whatever have no obligation to any of us to do anything. How they spend their money and enjoy their time, because let's be real, statistics show that a lot of us are out there shopping right now to kind of make ourselves feel better. We're all doing it, whether it's on Amazon, whether it's at Poundland, whether it's, you know, at Net-a-Porter. We're all spending, or at least at the very beginning of lockdown, we're all spending a lot of money, whether it's for pastime, whether it's to make ourselves feel better. We're all doing it, and on a different level. I think they have no obligation to really owe us anything. If you don't like it, don't watch them. I think it's smart of them to tap into the sign of the times and produce content which is a reflection of the era that we are currently living in. I think that those who are doing those, like, here's the best face mask to buy, here's the best loungewear to buy, are probably reaping the benefits of that sort of like timely content. But I think for me, I want to see content which is escapism. That's just my nature. Like, if I wanted to listen to job loss and COVID,
you turn on the news.
I turn on the news. And other things.
It's like, so true. It's
or
so
other
true.
YouTubers. And I think that there is strength in providing content that people initially tuned in for. I think also another fact to bear in mind, although we are seeing like high unemployment, or at least like diminishing salaries and things, that has always been around. 2 years ago, there was job loss, there was diminished salaries, and I know it's a different thing we're living through. 100%.
There's just one thing causing it right now. But companies go through financial hardships. The evolution of technology has made so many companies redundant over the years, or have to re-evolve or reevaluate or you know, reconfigure to the sign of the times. Like, and it will continue to. I'm like, you know, there are points where I'm sure like there'll be robots doing checkouts for everything, and like, you know, like
we'll all lose our jobs.
For ages, Southwest Trains is potentially being, or like the Tube is potentially being like driven by a robot, like you know, and they're going to replace drivers, but like there'll always need to be that one human on standby anyway. Like there's always going to be that kind of a thing, and that's obviously super unfortunate. But like, I also, like you said, I don't think you have to apologize if it hasn't sort of affected you either. You know, like you said, it's escapism. Definitely being aware of it. I think, you know, you don't want someone literally just being like, I'm just doing what I want. Because like,
I don't mean like people should make fun of people like that. No, not at all. I think that's crass and that's disgusting. But what I'm saying is, as a full-time YouTuber, or if you are an amateur YouTuber, there's nothing wrong with, I think, showing this sort of thing. If I don't want to see it, I think
you'll click off.
And
also their jobs have changed tremendously this time, as like during this time. That I think is why we're seeing so many things, maybe like hauls and stuff like that, because they'd often be going and like they do a vlog and they'd show us their day. Like, there's definitely like a lifestyle combo that a lot of people do these days that they can't do. There's nothing to show. There's only so many times you can show like going for a walk or whatever. And obviously like they would go on holiday and that would probably be a gifted trip, or they would do something with like I don't know, a fake tan brand,
or like my holiday looks or something. Yeah,
there'd be all this stuff going on to create content. So there are fewer sort of creative outlets for all of this stuff. So they've got to just produce stuff from their four walls of their home at the moment, which must be quite difficult to be creative for. But yeah, I definitely think that people just need to get a bit more clued up if they're succumbing to the pressures of watching a haul and thinking they need more stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, I like to buy stuff to make myself feel good too. You're not alone there. But I'm saying that wearing a new tracksuit because it's lockdown.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it definitely, like these, I don't even know how much these people earn. I know it's not even important, but like, it's a lot. Like it is a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we just have to be really aware of that.
I think people who are a bit older can discern between that's nice to look at, but realistically I don't have the money for it, or it's not of pressing need for me to buy something like that. I think for those who genuinely grew up on YouTube, like talk about my nephew, my nieces and stuff like that, or even teenagers now who genuinely grew up watching flex culture online 24/7, what do you think, what sort of effect do you think hauls and unboxing has on them? Because for me, I do think that there is an expectation to maybe receive certain things for Christmas. Don't get me wrong, there's loads of kids out there who are super normal, super grateful, not saying that there's all of them are spoiled brats, but the understanding of how far your money actually goes, which is not very far.
It's difficult. My nephews definitely aren't at sort of those ages yet for me to know what young kids watch sort of on YouTube. And I know there are like these kiddie YouTubers that like, I mean, we only have to look at like a Jojo
Ryan
Siwa or
that Ryan's toy, you know, the kid Ryan who reviews toys.
Oh, I've heard of him, and like how
much
money
he makes. Highest paid YouTuber ever. Yeah, and he's like, 9.
Yeah. But like, and I'd wonder if like, because also a YouTuber's like one of their favorite things to do is what I got for Christmas or what I got for my birthday.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of something where you're like, sorry, you got a Chanel bag for your Christmas. Like, we're obviously working in different circles here. I get spoiled at Christmas and I don't get that, like kind of a thing. So I want, if there's videos like that for kiddies, then I think that's a bit like sad to compare that, because like you said, money actually really doesn't go that far. Especially when it comes to kids' toys and how long a kid stays entertained. But I also hope that if they're growing up with the knowledge that that's someone's job, maybe like in time, it's helpful to like, and you can be like, oh no, like that's that little boy's job. Like that's his job. That's why he has so many things. And like, I think they'll be raised with knowing that is like a viable career. Whereas I wonder if there's like an in-between of like teenagers where they sort of have like I don't know if they're sort of a similar age to these people being like, how did they do that? I don't know. Do you think it will be damaging for your nieces and nephews?
My oldest lot so they are, my oldest niece, she is 17 right now. Is she 18? No, she's 17. Oh my God, she's quite old.
But I'm pretty sure I've known you for as long as your eldest niece has been alive. That's worrying.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
we do go
do you remember what age we were when we met and how old we are now?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So it adds up.
Yeah, it does add up. Wow. I remember when she was born.
Yeah. So, and my second oldest lot, he's a boy. So my nephew, he is 17 also. And they are pretty level-headed, regular kids. But I mean, they both have like iPhones, which is like £1,000 odd. Like, let's be real about it. Like, the expectation of certain things but also, doesn't like, mean that you are.
There's kind of no other option for a phone now. Which is ridiculous.
I mean, you could buy cheaper phones for sure, like Samsungs and stuff, but they're still pretty expensive, and you probably buy it for your kid on contract and whatnot. But I'm sure that I haven't seen my niece's makeup collection. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than mine. I haven't seen my nephew's like
video games,
football boots collection. I don't know. I'm sure it's substantial, or at the very least, I'm sure they know about Balenciaga just as much as I do, or whatever. You compare that to when I was 18, I didn't have the foggiest about Balenciaga. So I'm sure they're just exposed to a lot more than I was. That's not inherently bad, but you know, as you get older, and maybe it's more damaging to people like us who grew up watching haul videos when they were just about reviews and growing. We almost grew up with these YouTubers who are now bigger.
I mean, I always have a thing of, I always thought I could do that. Like, I'm interested in that. If I'm watching this,
that looks easy. I could do
I'm
that.
like, well, what if I did it? Would I be where they are now?
I know.
It's that thing of I wouldn't be. I'm sure it takes some form of a skill and whatever allure. And also I've got like agoraphobia, so I don't want to be known.
Oh, you want to keep it low key, and
like I don't want to walk out of my street, walk out of my house, and people be like, I know that girl. Like, I don't need that in my life.
Like, you know what? For YouTubers, there's a lot of YouTubers that are massive online.
Yeah.
But like, my parents don't know who they are. Like,
oh, for sure. But like, you also kind of don't want to have that look of. I live around where a lot of footballers live.
And, yeah, it's true.
And like, whenever I see them in the street, you get that look of, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And like, I do know who they are, and I try and give a look of, I don't think I know who you are, because I like
trying to play it cool.
I get it because I think I would hate that of like, you look like the kind of person who'd be my demographic. But yeah, I wonder actually if it is harder for people like us who watched them when they were like working on a makeup counter or whatever, and now they're sort of like these mega stars.
Yeah. I mean, this is so not related to our episode right now, but I think I told you a couple of weeks ago that I found out Cardi B is younger than us. Did I tell you this?
She's younger than us.
She's born in the October, and you're born in the April, and me in the February. So we're older than Cardi B, and it just. See, that is how things can really mess with you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When you see someone who's clearly older than you, more successful than you, there is that space for grace on yourself, and you give yourself more leeway. But when you know someone is like a multimillionaire and they're younger than you, and you know, like, I remember when Cardi B was still on like Love and Hip Hop, and I watched her on that show, and it's like, huh? What?
That's why one of my favorite things will always be when like the thing of Oprah was this old when she got her first show, like Morgan Freeman didn't act until he was like 50, and like Biden's like Vice President Harris, like she literally met the love of her life at 49, and she's at like the peak of her job and career right now. Like I love seeing those things because that's also real life. I think we're all in a rush. I think this definitely plays into our episode of, we're in a rush to achieve everything so quickly. We are definitely the first generation, I think, and don't get me wrong, the generation a little bit below us are going to be like, so much worse. That we kind of want our like career growth and trajectory instantly. People, you have to earn your stripes. You don't become something overnight. And yes, we see these startups where someone's become a CEO at 27 or whatever. But the reality is, like get to a place, you have to work for it, and time factors into that, and we're
100%.
all in such a rush. Like I remember we had an intern come in, and she's like the perfect example of this sort of like, I think I'm already in the room and I'm a voice in the room, and like, and I guess and like everybody is, don't get me wrong, but like you also do have to earn your stripes, kind of a thing, especially in fashion. It's very much like the higher you are up you are, the more your voice matters, like in a room, and your opinion on a design or something. And she's just like, she's literally there because like her mum knows like the head of marketing. Like it's one of those, but like, and she's super posh, and she's sort of like judging sort of the shoe designs that my colleague had done. She's like, yeah, like I can so see that being I really like that, I can see that being something. And I remember everyone just like turned to each other when she left. They were like, sorry, is she the intern? Like who does she think she is? And like, good for her, because I bet her parents like, make your opinion known and like you go for it. Like,
I mean, you remembered her, isn't it?
I know, but not maybe for the best rule. Like, who does she think she is judging our designs?
Yeah, I think that plays into, this could be a whole nother episode, but
I know
it completely plays into this like 30 under 30 Forbes list, 40 under 40 Forbes list, and everyone who is, you know, the exception to the rule, the unicorn company, the youngest CEO ever, they get all the limelight and prestige. And so that's what you see, and that's what you think is possible.
And you never see like the 60-year-old who got his promo like at 57 and he's like gonna retire at like his peak,
because that's not
like,
glamorous. And
but it's kind of real life, and it's nice to see.
But it's seemingly like you are more successful.
Seemingly mundane.
You are more successful if you can get success at the youngest age ever, or younger. You know, younger is better, sort of thing. But yeah, so you're completely right in that a lot of these YouTubers who do these massive hauls or gifted a lot of stuff, they've been in the game for a while. You know, back when they started doing this, back when there probably wasn't any money in it. Yeah. Or don't get me wrong, there's a lot of YouTubers out there who started just a few years ago and are like killing it. But yeah, I think haul culture, unboxing, collection videos, and all of that has completely influenced the way that we shop and the way that we see clothes and the way that we see luxury. It's not an exception anymore. It's like the first thing on your list now. It
almost seems like it's attainable. And like I'm not like exceptionally like poor or anything like that, but like there is no way I should be like looking to attain like a certain level of clothing. Do you know what I mean? Like if I broke down like my expenditure, I should not be looking to buy stuff off like Farfetch and Net-a-Porter. Like that shouldn't be where I choose. Like if I've like, that should go into a saving, or that should like, you know, that shouldn't be what I'm striving for. But like, I think they've made all of that seem like so much closer, like so much closer. Yeah. And like that, there's something dangerous about that. I think. And yeah, I definitely think it's kind of, we want more things. We just want so many more things.
Just want more. Yeah.
More. How do you like it? How do you like it? Who sang that?
That wasn't, I can't remember, but it was also
was it Kylie?
That was a cover.
Or was it Sophie Ellis Baxter? One of those.
They were all covers, because that's not the original. I'm sure. Yeah.
Terrible song.
My childhood Sophie Ellis Baxter. Jesus Christ.
She's got a new album out. Disco.
Stop. Shocking. Oh, Kylie, you mean?
No, and Sophie Ellis Baxter.
I'm pretty sure that Kylie has some sort of
it's
disco
called Disco
album.
too. I know, it's terrible. They were both on the Graham Norton show.
You know what? I have so much respect for Kylie, but that can be a whole nother episode.
I'm just going to say it, that girl can't sing.
But she is a hustler. Kylie is a worker.
How she's got where she is, but like with not much talent. But you know what?
No.
And like we've been rambling on. This will be my last 2 cents for this video.
Okay.
But most, like, not all, but a lot of the people who make it in the singing industry aren't the best singers.
No, at all. But I will counter that by saying maybe I'm like a closeted Kylie fan. I don't know. But I don't know.
I just can't
if you look at a lot of her music videos, they're great. I recently was watching some and I was like,
as well.
Kylie, that is iconic. But anyway, maybe that's just me reminiscing about my childhood. But Kylie works very hard. Anyway, her album is out now.
We have been sponsored by Disco. You can get a copy here, and here.
Yeah. So, end of our podcast is now. Anything else you want to add?
No, and if we haven't touched on a topic, I'm hoping that like YouTube culture and stuff like that resonates with people who listen. I know, like we said it before, we both are big fans of YouTube and all of that stuff. So if there are topics you want us to cover or want us to go into further depth on something, then just let us know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. I've been Mim.
And I've been Scarlett.
Ciao.